current state of AI, I'm going to take you through 9 essential updates as to what I think is important that has been released over the last few weeks. There's a lot of noise, and with this noise comes a lot of dissected attention. And what we're going to do is cut through the noise. So, here we go. So first off, we have OpenAI's Agent SDK. This is a big deal because I think it'll become the gold standard going forward across large language models and enterprises and small businesses around the world. So it's designed with 3 main building blocks: agents, handoffs, and guardrails. So with the Agents SDK, you can chain together multiple agents. So one agent can look something up while another writes a summary. They can then hand off tasks between each other smoothly. This opens the door to complex use cases like AI research assistance that breaks down into parts, or a customer support triage system that will have a number of specialized sub-agents. Now, the point of this is that it's supposed to remain relatively lean so it can compete alongside other frameworks like CrewAI and LangChain. Next, Cohere releases Command A. So, what's Command A? It's a state-of-the-art model, as anyone would call their own model. According to them, it's on par with GPT-4o, and it can output almost double the amount of tokens per second. Next, we have Y Combinator's Vogen coming on the market. So, Vogen is an all-in-one platform for building human-like, intelligent, effective voice agents. So I've played a lot with voice agents over the past. I've built some tools, sold them, built software, sold them. The point is that Vogen claims to be a self-designing and self-improving voice agent. It is supposed to learn over its own failures. Now that's a big claim. I've gone through their docs a bit, and I've found out that in terms of pricing, they can charge about 9 cents a minute, and if you want to use some of their premium models, you can add another 5 cents. So they've also claim to have battle tested their agents in high volume scenarios like healthcare, real estate, travel, and insurance over the past year. Next, we have something from Perplexity. So Perplexity's API now supports MCP, Model Context Protocol. And last time I played with it, it wasn't that great. They seem to have gatekept a lot of the features in their API compared to when you would use it on their actual webpage. Understandably, this is how they would get you to spend money monthly versus just paying as you go on their API. So with their new MCP compatible service, the idea is that with your own AI tools, you can now use Perplexity's web search in real time. So I do know that this is in its infancy, and over time it's going to get better. But because now Perplexity is also utilizing MCP in their API, it's going to become a standard of how you ask AI questions in your code base. In the bigger picture, Perplexity's move signals an emerging ecosystem of AI tools that work together. Now, if you want to take a look at their code base, you can find it on GitHub. Next, we have Max Mode by Cursor. Some of you may have heard of Cursor as the leading IDE for an AI agent-based coding experience, and I'd agree with that. It's pretty good. Beats out all the competitors so far. So, what is Max Mode? In short, Max Mode uses Claude 3.7 thinking at its core, and it uses the whole 200K context window of the model. It can read more code at once. It's only available via usage pricing, so it costs 5 cents per use and 5 cents per tool call. That can add up really quick. It's probably not for the average user. I would probably use it to plan my project, to think about all the components, all the API routes before coding, and then use 3.7 Sonnet regular mode to actually build the code. Next, we have the competitor to Cursor, Windsurf by Kodium. Windsurf has announced Wave 5. Wave 5 has a bunch of new updates, such as Windsurf Tab. So what is Windsurf Tab? It basically merges everything that the AI can do for you in the code editor into the tab key. You start typing, when you press tab, AI can do one of the several smart things depending on the context. It could auto-complete the rest of the line or a whole block of code, which is now called the super complete mode. Something else that's pretty cool, if you've gone to Stack Overflow and you've copied a new snippet of code, don't be surprised if the next suggestion actually adapts that snippet of code into your code, because Windsurf has noticed it on your clipboard. I've used Windsurf in late 2024. It was pretty awesome, but it was in the first few weeks that it was released. And from what I've heard and seen in the community, it seems to have gotten a lot better. Next, we have Notebook LM. And what I'm going to talk about here is a feature on their Plus edition. So I've used it quite a bit over the past few years or a year. And the feature I want to talk about now is mind mapping. So I like to use it for summarizing YouTube videos in general. And what the new feature with mind mapping does is, let's take a quick video here from one of my favorite AI coders. Shout out Indie Dev Dan. Copy this link. Throw it here into the YouTube URL part, insert. So it's going to summarize this video pretty quickly. That's one thing I really like about Gemini. Here's a quick summary of the video itself. And if you click mind map, in just a few seconds, you will get the mind map summary. And what it does is it will break down the video into its key components. So for example, this video has 6 tips for Claude Code Pro, along with the big theme and the key takeaways. Now, if I click down one of these tips, it will break it down in the chat. Now, what I also like is that it breaks it down into more than 1 or 2 layers if there's more content within. So let's see, in tip 1, there are a bunch of more topics to consider. And so, for example, if I click a certain thing like parallel reads, new features, it will talk about that specific part of the video. Now, the main thing about this that I don't like is that it's so hidden inside the ecosystem, just as any other of Google's products. I hope they can make this into a standalone app later. Next, we're going to talk about Adobe and Microsoft empowering marketers with AI agents. So what they announced at the Adobe Summit this week is that Adobe products will now have Microsoft 365 Copilot built in. I don't know exactly what that means because it hasn't been completely released yet. But according to them, you'll be able to refine audiences for targeting, discover actionable insights, and drive cross-team collaboration. I really hope they get this right and it's not just bloatware. And I am skeptical because when you want to learn more about it, instead of having a beautiful website and user interface for you to interact with it, just as Adobe Suite is there to produce, they have it in PDF format. Because they have it in a PDF format, my hopes, my dreams, I'm keeping my expectations real low. Yeah. Now, I'm going to end off with something that was just released less than 1 hour ago, and that is voice agents with OpenAI's API. This is a big deal because you can now build voice agents with their API directly into your code. So they've had a live stream, like I said, less than an hour ago, and you can go directly to the website, which is openai.fm. Now, if you go to openai.fm, you can play with some of their models now. So for example, let's say sports coach, Sage, and you can see the prompt right here, and you can actually hit play.
Welcome to Surrey Tech's YouTube channel. This is where I talk about what I think is important and interesting.
Yeah, I'm really creative, I know. Let's try some new stuff. Fable, Eternal Optimist.
Welcome to Surrey Tech's YouTube channel. This is where I talk about what I think is important and interesting.
So it's limited right now in terms of how it sounds and whatnot. You could download it directly. What you could also do is, the part that I like the most is you can switch this to code. So for example, if you like what you see in here right now, you can click this piece up here and you can now get that code snippet to start building right away. You can choose Python, JavaScript, or curl, and this gets you building immediately. So using this, you can now build on top of the Agent SDK that I talked about at the beginning of the video. So really powerful stuff. You're going to start seeing this pop up across apps in the next few days and weeks. So that's it for now. I really hope you learned something. I really hope you take away something important from this. And if you like what you see, what you hear, let me know somehow. I think that's it.